Right, good morning everyone. It is Thursday, forgetting the day there, we've already started, too early. Thursday, we're going to get started in 4 minutes or so. Today, as you can see, we are going to be looking at some creative writing ideas. We normally do this lesson on a Friday morning, but it's a bank holiday tomorrow, so we're not doing lessons, just our street party. So we're going to get started in 5 minutes or so, just under 5 minutes. What I am going to say, and please everyone listen to this, just before everyone gets to the lesson and we get started, is please, okay, listen to this. In the chat there, we have, it's great to see you all before the lessons and see you come in half an hour before and stuff. You catch up when the lesson's ended, you talk about things and stuff as well. That is brilliant, that is what it's for, saying hello to your friends, catching up things there. However, when we get on with the lesson, I have noticed when I've been checking some of the answers, and it's the same couple of people every time, they're talking about other things a lot, okay? And it's a couple of people I can see that were in the chat earlier on this morning, so listen if you can hear what I'm saying. If you're talking about other things, video games, things like that, and stuff like that in the chat, it stops me being able to see answers, it puts other people off, okay? And it's not what we want it for. So I want you to use the chat, but the teachers today and the moderators are going to be looking for that, and they will time you out if you start talking about stuff that's not on task all the time. If you mention the odd thing and it's got something to do with the task, that's fine for answering questions, saying hello to someone, little things like that, absolutely brilliant, okay? But if you're distracting other people in the chat and you are, when I'm looking for answers, I can't see them because you're talking about video games or anything like that, that's not great. So the moderators are going to be watching out for that and timing out people who do that. So I think it's 300 seconds, so a couple of minutes you won't be able to. If you do get timed out, okay, I've let you know why. Okay, don't want to do it, so listen to the lesson, stay on task for me, okay? Like I said, before the lesson, after the lesson, absolutely fine. That's what we're here for. But we want to make sure everyone's getting the most out of the lesson, okay? So it is 2 minutes to, so in about 2 minutes we're going to get started. Oh yes, Freya, I told you yesterday, happy birthday to Freya, who's in the lesson, okay? Big happy birthday, great to see you down, working hard on your birthday as well. Okay, there's a couple of others I think, but I'm going to wait to see, make sure that they're in the chat before I say happy birthday. Right, so about to get started. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for all the good mornings there. Isabel, Jake, Ollie, Emily, Charlie. Let's have a look who else said good morning that I missed. Morning, William. Morning, Heidi. Morning, Drew. Morning, Ollie. Morning, Tom. And I'm going to leave it there. Obviously, good morning, Freya, with it being your birthday. I'm going to say good morning to all of you. I would be here for a while, so we are going to leave it there. Okay, so let's just get everything go. Boom. Okay, so today we're going to be doing our creative writing lesson. So, like I said, if you just joined us, we normally do this on a Friday morning, but with it being a bank holiday tomorrow, we are doing it today. The only thing that we will be live streaming tomorrow is our stay-at-home street party, 3 till 4. So hopefully see you all along for that. And obviously that's going to be more of a party than a lesson. Okay, more of a party. It is going to be a party. Okay. So it'll be great to see you down for that. Lots of people give me some song suggestions in the comments yesterday. Thank you for those. I've been getting on those. I repeat again, I need to get the music before to make sure that it will work and make sure it's going to go on YouTube. So if you've got any requests, ask them now. If you ask them in the chat, tomorrow I might have the songs, I might not have the songs, so I might not be able to play them. So you're best getting your song requests in. So if you do have a song request, you can pop it in the comments, please, not in the chat. Pop it in the comments on this video and we'll be able to do them now. If you've not heard about the stay-at-home street party, if you check my Twitter, my Instagram or my Facebook, you can see what it is there. But basically we're all going to be having a party together tomorrow 3 till 4, even though we have to be apart. I might even go a little bit longer if everyone is enjoying it. We will see. Okay, so we're going to get started. Okay, first thing all as well, have to say a big happy birthday to Mr. Alderson. Okay, he sent me a message this morning and said he needs a shout out to say happy birthday. So if you are watching Mr. Alderson, happy birthday. If you're not, why did you ask for a shout out? Okay, so happy birthday, Mr. Alderson, and welcome everyone else down to the chat. So we are going to get started. So as you can see, today we're going to look at some English and we're going to look creative writing, but we're going to be looking at ideas. Now, there's a reason why I chose this. A couple of reasons, okay, is I see a lot, okay, a lot of really, really good writers in my class over the years. I've had really amazing writers, okay. However, there's a difference between, okay, I've just got a message through there. I'm just going to double check. Yes, I've got to say a big happy birthday as well to Evie, okay, from my school who's in year 5. Happy birthday, Evie, okay, hope you have a good one. I think that's a signal Mrs. Carthy sent me to tell you that you're watching now. So big happy birthday to you, Evie. Okay, let's go back and get started. So yeah, I've had loads of great writers in my class, better than me, okay, over the years. You can see they're just naturally good writers, okay. I'm an okay writer, but I've had lots of years of practice. When you're your age and you're really good writers, it shows that you're natural writers, which is brilliant. So, if we give you a task and say, right, write about this, write about that, write about this, write about that, you can produce some really, really good, some really brilliant pieces of work, okay? And that's amazing. However, there are a lot of good, amazing people who can do really good writing out there, but they don't all write books. And they don't all make loads of money from the stories they write. And the reason is you can be a really good writer, but ideas, okay, about what it is that you want to write, original ideas, your own ideas, those are a lot harder to come up with than actually writing a story, okay? So we're going to have a little bit of look of how we can get our skills better and how we can evolve our ideas, so make them sort of, we think of an original idea and make it get better and better and better today. So last lesson we had last writing lesson, sorry, so last Friday we had a writing lesson and I gave you a task to do, but I gave you 2 tasks, okay? And the main task that I gave you, loads of people did, and that was brilliant, but I only got a couple of entries in from the second task, which was the one that I was wanting you work sent in for. So we're going to focus on that today. I think it's going to set you 2 tasks. You all focus on the main one. When you finish that, you had other work to do. So that was my bad. That's okay. So what we're going to do is, today's lesson is probably going to be a little bit shorter because I want you to use the time that's not going to be in the lesson, okay, to be really thinking about using our ideas, using the skills that we've talked about in order to come up with some brilliant creative writing ideas. So, from the start, since we started these writing lessons, I don't know how many, 3 weeks ago now, yeah, 2-3 weeks ago, since we started them, I've talked about us creating a sort of story and a story together, okay, where we're all going to come up with ideas and put them all together. Now, right at the start, we put a poll out there on Kahoot, and you said that you wanted to do. I'm going to get a pen that you can see better. A fantasy story. So a fantasy story where there was a brother and sister as the lead characters. So that is the idea for our story. Now, we haven't started to think of what the story is really going to be about now. I have had a couple of people who sent some ideas in. If you have sent those in, thank you, brilliant. It means you did 2 tasks last week, so I'm really impressed with how hard you're working. Okay, if you have already thought of them ideas, maybe think of another one. Use these ideas. Maybe something else will come to you when we talk through today's lesson that will really help you. Okay, so we're going to be writing this fantasy story, and our reminder there of fantasy story. I'm going to use a word that's one of Miss Allison's favourite. She mentioned to me the other day. So in a fantasy story, we have something fantastical in a normal world. So something fantastical, normal, happening in our world now. Okay, so magic in our world, or superpowers, or something like that. Okay, we have normal things in a fantastical world. So normal things happening in a fantastical world. So a magical world, magical creatures and magic and things like that. Okay, maybe. But the things that happen would be normal day-to-day things because of their world that they live in. So when we do this, we're going to think of a build-up, a dilemma, and maybe a twist. So what your task is going to be today is the same one as the secondary task I sort of gave you last week, but it is going to be your main focus, and I want you to send loads of ideas in. So this is a story that all so far we know we're going to write. We're going to write a fantasy story about a brother and sister. That is all we know. The rest is our choice, okay? So what we are going to do is we are going to go over some stuff today, and I want you to send me in a little synopsis, maybe bullet points, some ideas for this story that we can write, okay? If you want to as well, it would be really cool, you might want to draw some pictures that go with it, okay? Draw something that's really, really important with the story. Maybe it's the setting or the characters or things like that. But to give you those ideas, okay, rather than just saying, right, go away and think of something, because when someone says, think of this, it can be really, really hard. Let's look at how we can sort of start to think of things and evolve them. So what we're going to do is we come up with our ideas. We're going to put them all down there. We're going to mind map them, okay? And as we are mind mapping them, put them down, I would pop all these answers down on it. I would copy it down on a piece of paper. Now, it might be not an idea that you end up using, but it could help influence your other ideas, or it could change your ideas later on. If your story changes near the end because you have a really cool idea, they might help you then. So that's why it's good to have lots of ideas there, okay? And it doesn't matter if you don't use some, okay? It means the more ideas you have, the better likely your idea is going to be. So, well, there's a few things that we are going to come up with ideas for together. Now, firstly, we are going to look, should have done that small at the top, okay? Firstly, we are going to start looking at the setting, okay? Now the setting, if funny enough, is where the story is set, okay? So where the story is set. Now, like I mentioned, in a fantasy story, we tend to either have a normal world with fantastical things happening, or we have a fantastical world with normal things happening. So first thing that we're going to think of, okay, oh, sorry, some trouble on the other end there. First we're going to think of is, if this story is a normal world, okay, I think this pen is ruined with me planets off the other day, the lesson, okay. So what we're going to do is, in a normal world, so when I say normal, I mean our world, okay. In our world, what type of fantastical things could make that world different? Okay, start, if you've got some ideas, you can start putting them in the chat there now. So what sort of things could make our normal world different? Don't just think of one. I think that's one I'm going to think of. Think of lots of different things. So I'm going to, firstly, because I mentioned it a few times, I'm going to put magic. Okay, I'll put magical. Okay, so it could be our world, but it's magical. Okay. No, I'm just going to put magic, because it's not a magical world, there's just magic in the world. So this could be something like your Harry Potter, so you've got your school, okay? So you've got a school where that people go to, and there's magic, and it's behind closed doors, okay? So this isn't a magical world, it's our world, but the magic is hidden, okay? It's in secret, because it's still as if it's our world, remember that. Or it could be sort of a society, okay, that works together to protect the world, and they've got magic powers, but it's a secret from the rest of them. It could just be, could be one person, okay? So your character could get magic powers, and no one else has, or they don't know anyone at the start of the story. It could change as it goes on. Could be just the brother and sister are magical. Maybe it's a magical family, and the protectors of something, or something like that. So those are some ideas. I'm going to check the chat. I've got a few more ideas here, but I'll see if we have any ideas down here. Now I see some people, okay, popping down the names of other things. Remember, this is ideas, this is original. Now I have basically stole Harry Potter there when I said school, but you could do it in a different way. I haven't wrote Harry Potter, have I, okay? And I thought of other ideas from that to try and evolve them, because we're thinking of our own ideas. When we make the story, we want it to be ours. We don't want it to be a copy of anyone else's. Okay. So let's have a look. So I've got someone there, okay? Put unicorns, but what I'm going to put is, let's have a look, yeah, creatures. So creature or creature. So it could be a world where there's magical creatures. Our world, okay, but magical creatures are kept sort of secret, okay? Remember, this is our normal world. So if there are creatures, they would have to be secret, wouldn't it? Because we would know about them now if they wouldn't. So we mentioned sort of unicorn. They could be friendly, or they could be evil. I'll put in the middle there could be both. So there could be some good creatures and bad creatures, okay? There could just be bad creatures that are trying to do something to the world. Let's have a think of some ideas for some, oh, let's go down. Some creatures in ice deer. I don't know what an ice deer is, but we'll put it down, okay? So one where children could take the place of adults. So we could have a normal world where something So we could have a normal world where something fantastical happens. So someone mentioned there in the chat that children take the place of adults. Or you could have adults disappear. Okay. What else could we have? What fantastic, imagine it's our world. What things could sort of happen from there? Oh, I got a good one there. I'm going to add this one to creatures, so people can turn into So we could have one where people turn into animals. So just thinking of that, there's lots of different things you could do with that. That could be there again, like a school where people can turn into animals. It could be just our main characters find out that they can turn into animals and not their family always has. Do they have to do something because they can? Can they turn into animals for a reason? Is it to protect something? Is it to protect a city, an object? Is it to protect the world? Okay. Is it an experiment that people can start turning into animals? There's lots of different things there, okay, that we could do. So one little idea, you can see we can start thinking of those things there. And I see some good ideas there, okay, for some magical world, which we're going to get onto in a little bit. I'm going to pop here a hidden world. Okay, so there could be a hidden world somewhere, and that could be anything. Like I say, it could be the magic, could be the creatures, could be the children take a piss. There could be a hidden underwater world. There could be some hidden something. Okay, anything. Like I say, when ideas, when it's a fantasy story, the sky's the limit. But make sure if you were using that one, again, it's something original. Okay, don't be just taking other ideas. And again. We mentioned here people turn into animals, but that could be put on, couldn't it? It could be people. I'm going to move this up a bit because I don't know whether that'll be on camera. So people have powers. Okay, so people could have magical powers. People could have lots of powers. People could just have one power, so one person can turn invisible, one person can do this. It's only a few people that will be able to do this, remember. If it's a normal world, okay, it will be something that will be hidden. So how are they used? Do they get taken by the government and used as spies? Is there a society that all these people come together, and maybe a good one and a bad one, and people have to decide which one they join? Some people have better powers than other ones, okay? So those are all the different things that we could have, maybe if it was a normal world. Now, we also mentioned it could be a fantastical world. Fantastical world. Okay? It could be a fantastical world where normal things are happening. I don't mean normal as in normal to us. They would be normal in that world because of what happens in that world. Okay? So, first thing we've got to say is all of these ideas here we could use really as a fantastical world, couldn't we? Okay, but rather than it being secret and being behind closed doors and being hidden, it would be out in the open and a lot more people have it. So it could be where there's creatures that can turn into people who can turn into creatures, or there's creatures that people have, magical sort of creatures that we don't know about, or animals could talk, things like that. We haven't mentioned that one. But maybe everyone has a creature, maybe everyone has a companion creature, maybe everyone can turn into animals, or maybe lots of people can, okay, but not everyone, but it is well known, okay, so 50% of people, half the people can turn into animals. Maybe it's a mixture of them, so it's a really fantasy world where there's people who can turn into animals, there's people who can who have powers, there's people who can do magic, okay? So it could be a huge, rich world with lots of different sort of species and lots of different characters and lots of different types of characters in that world, okay? So all of those we could use there. But what type of fantasy world can I did see someone put medieval magical world, okay? So we could have a medieval sort of magical world. So you've got your knights, you've got magic, you've got all those type of things that are happening. It could be sort of like a pirate world with but with like flying ships and things. So we're not just talking about a pirate story, it's a different world, and maybe it is mainly a pirate world with flying ships and things like that, but some people have powers, things like that. Let's have a look. floating island someone's put there. Someone's asked there in the chat, can I use that idea? Of course you can use each other's ideas. This is what we are coming together for and coming up with these ideas, is to share them, is to for someone to say something and you go, oh yeah, I've got a really good idea of how that could work. So I think it was Charlie asking if you could use that idea with it being someone else's. Yeah, that's brilliant. You can use that idea and go with it, and in the end it might change different. You could still end up writing stories maybe about floating islands. However, the book could both be completely different. Okay, so yes, medieval is a time period, Stephen, but when someone's saying a medieval magical world, they're talking about those things. So we're talking about a world where there's castles and knights and dragons, those things that you associate with the medieval times. Okay, so we got lots of ideas there. And I'm going to say, like I mentioned here, but I think this is one. So so we could come up with a massive world with a mixture, okay? So if you're coming up with, you've got loads of ideas, you don't know which one to come up with, it could be a big world that does have some places that have floating islands. There are pirates there with flying ships and things, and there are magical creatures. So you could put all these ideas together, because remember, in a world you'll have lots of different things together. So you could have a massive world with a mixture of all, some of these ideas that we're putting in. We wouldn't put them all in, okay, because the story we're going to write is not going to be big enough to get everything in. And you could have, although we're saying it's a magical world and normal things happen there, so I've got normal people get there somehow. So we could have a story where this brother and sister are from that world, okay, so they know how everything works and how everything's happening, okay, or we could have one where people from our world end up there, okay. They could go through a portal, or something magical could happen, or they could just wake up and they're there and they don't know, or they could have been trying to get there for years. It's a legend that everyone knows about. There's lots of ideas that you can go with there. What is good sometimes with those stories where normal people go through is they find out and discover the world as the reader does, okay? So it doesn't assume that the reader knows about all of these things, because as the character finds out about them, that there's floating islands and things like that, we find out about them at the same time. So that can be a really good technique to use when you're writing a fantasy story, okay? Someone's saying they're getting the Avatar with Avengers sort of theme in there. That's okay, as long as we're making it different, making it change a little bit. Just going to check if got any more ideas before we move on. People are selecting to go back in time to prevent disasters. I like that one. That's a good idea. That will more be around a science fiction story, but that's a brilliant idea for a story. Really like that one. Ooh, let's have a look there. Don't worry if you're a bit confused about what you need to do. Let's just think of the ideas together now, and I'm going to mention exactly what we're going to do, okay? So, we're going to start from this side and rub them off. We've lots of ideas there for a setting. Hopefully, you've jotted a few of them down as a mind map or as bullet points or however you wanted to, okay? And you're starting to think of ideas. Now, don't be set on an idea now, because what might happen is when we come up with the next couple of things, it might change your idea completely, okay? Your setting might not work with the one, and if there's any of those that you didn't see or you didn't jot down, remember you can watch the video afterwards, and you'll be able to see it. Okay, so what we also need in our story, in a fantasy story, is yes, we've got a world, but we need to have a problem or a dilemma, okay? Something that our brother and sister are going to have to overcome, and this is what's going to create the excitement, this is what's going to create the atmosphere, and this is what is going to get people wanting to continue to read our story. So in chats, what different problems and things could come up. Okay, I'm going to start writing a couple down to start giving you a few ideas. Put them in the chat. I'm going to have a look in a little bit to see. So we could have something like an evil needs to be overthrown. Now I'm being very general here because I don't know where my world's set. I don't know anything else yet. So I'm just thinking, right, it could be one where there's an evil ruler and he has to be overthrown. Because it could be a king, could be a wizard, could be a species that you haven't even made up yet. Okay, so there could be someone there, or it could be a terrible could be that there's a terrible disaster that they need to stop. Okay, is something going to happen and they have to go on a journey in order to stop it happening, to save people. Okay, and with our story they don't have to in the end. So it could be something like a meteor or a earthquakes that sort of, oh, can't put it on, knew you had to write earthquakes that sort of take the world on. Could it just be that the world explodes or the world ends? Okay, and this might not be because just naturally, this could be because of someone. Okay, so someone could be creating this disaster or trying to make it. Let's have a look. What ideas? Lots of text in there. It's got some really good ideas here. I'm just going through. So someone's put there to save an important item. And they mentioned a book of magic, book that contains all the magic, okay? And that could be the saving it because someone evil's trying to get it, or someone's trying to destroy it, or something like that. It could be an item that's going to save people. Okay? Lots of different things. Again, I'm not putting what the item is, whether it's a book or anything like that, because your world might have different things that we need in it. Oh, that's it going down. Okay, so someone's put there, who's that one? Francis there's put that, it could be, and I'm putting it here as find something out. Now, it sounds like it's very, very rough when I'm putting find something out, but you'll see what I mean, because this could be lots of different things. So someone put in there, that their parents work for the MI5, okay, and they're trying to find out why they found out, and as they go there's different fantasy things that they found out, so that will be sort of in our normal world. So it could be how parents died, it could be how parents died, they might need to find out a way to save world, it might be what happened to someone. So in our character one where all the adults gone, could be find out what happened to them, what happened to I'll put someone, what happened to someone. Okay, so there's lots of things, so your characters could go on a journey to find out something. Okay, so someone said they could go somewhere that they're not supposed to be at the start of the story, and they start something that starts natural disasters, and then maybe they're trying to stop that at the end. That's a really good, maybe there's some sort of just an evil plan. You might have some ideas for those, and it could be, we mentioned how it could be a normal person that somehow end up in a magical world or something, The problem, the dilemma that they could overcome, their journey, what they're trying to do is to get home. Okay, so there could be lots of things that happen on the way that try to stop them and stuff like that, but the overarching, okay, so the main problem, dilemma that goes through the whole story will be based around this one. Okay, so there's some ideas of what the problem or the dilemma could be. And the last thing that we're going to think of, and now you don't have to put this in when you're coming up with your story, but the last thing I'm going to think of is the twist. Okay, now I said we're going to try and put a twist in. You can think of a really good twist. It'll really help our story. So, obviously it's lots of twists in the story, so let's have a think of what it could be. Start popping them down in the chat. Okay, and I will write a couple on here. Now we probably won't get as many ideas on here because twists can come out as your story develops. Okay, so a twist could be sort of one of the characters is on the other side. Okay, so a character that you thought was good all the way through turns out to be one of the bad guys and they've been trying to do it, or something like that, and you find that out at the end. Okay, it could be the opposite way around. Okay, so someone we think is evil is not. Okay, so you can have someone who's good who turned out they're trying to be evil, and we could have someone who's evil in the end ends up not being evil. Let's have a look to see what some of your ideas are there. Fine, okay, so a good idea by Jude there. At the end of the story, we find out it was a trial, and there's more. Already thinking of a sequel. It was a trial. So that means that the whole thing that they went through was actually sort of a test, of trial. Did they pass it? Did they not? And there's actually more to do. That's checking to see whether they're ready to do what it is that we another thing that's probably quite bigger. Some really good one there. So we've got one there. How we're going to put that? So something is not what it was expected to be. Okay, so that could be if they're looking for a magical book to save the world or something like that. When they finally get it, it's not actually a book. It could be a map to show them where what they actually need is. Okay, could be that they're trying to get something that's going to save the world, or that's going to turn back time, or going to do this, that, and the other. Someone mentioned the time going back there, just an idea popping in my mind. Someone could be trying to find something to turn back time to save someone or something like that. Then when they get the item, it's actually something different or something like that. So there's some good ideas that we could pop down. So I'm only put there for twist, like I said, because it depends on your story what it is. So if you pop those notes down, that'd be brilliant. Now I'm going to explain exactly what it is that I want you to do. Like I said, today's lesson wasn't going to be as long. What we are going to do, so someone said there, are we writing a story together or are we writing a story apart? So we are going to write a story together, but okay, you are all coming up with your own ideas, and I'm going to take those ideas and put them together. Okay, so I'm going to take different parts of them, put them together to come up with a really good idea for our story, which we can put some of our creative writing skills to as we go on. Okay, so you don't have to think, oh, what are they doing? What are they doing? What are they doing? You can think of your own ideas. Look at the notes that you've made. And what you're going to do today, there isn't a worksheet or a Kahoot or anything like that. You just have to, with the little bit extra time that you have, with the lesson being a little bit shorter, you have to think up of an idea for this fantasy story okay, of a brother and sister. Use all those ideas that we've evolved, that we've talked about, okay, and I want you to send me, okay, your ideas. Okay, so a couple of people have already did it because it was a small task that I set last week. We focus on a little bit more now, so I expect a lot more in. So on my Instagram, on my Facebook, on my Twitter, Mr. Biggins123, on the Padlet, on the email address, however it is, I want you to send me your ideas for your story. Now listen carefully, because some of you think, oh no, that's fine, that's an easy task, boom, done. No. What I want you to do is to really spend time on it, okay? So come up with some draft ideas, then evolve them, make them better. Come up with the best idea you can, your story, where is it set? Tell me what's the problem, the dilemma, the ideas that we'll come up with. Is there a twist? What is the twist going to be? Explain all of those things to me, okay? You can write in bullet points, you can write it down as a paragraph, you can write it any way you want, but I want lots of detail, so not just, oh, it's a world where this happens, okay? I want you to write down with enough detail in there, whereas if I read that, I could say, oh, I know what's going to happen exactly in the story, and I would write the exact story you're thinking of, okay? So if you just think, oh, it's a boy and a girl, a world where creatures can talk to people and they have to go and stop an evil king. That's not what I want, okay? Explain about the creatures, explain how it works, okay? Do they live with the person? Do they just appear sometimes? Has it always been that way? How is the world different in any way? Why is this king evil? What can you think of any names for the characters? What is it that this evil person's trying to do? How do they have to be taken over? How are they going to try and take over? What happens? What are the things that happen on their journey? Okay, so there's lots of detail that you can put in there. Okay, so basically, I don't want, if you let's go back to the one, because I always use, because I know most people have read it, Harry Potter. Okay, you could write down it's a story about a boy who finds out he's a wizard, and then he's trying to fight an evil wizard, Voldemort. That's not what we want, okay? You'll be telling us about how he finds out his friends, okay? What things he's learned in the school, the different characters like Professor Snape and Dumbledore and all those, okay? You'll be finding out in the start that thinks Voldemort's coming back, and then what happens. Now, it might not be finally what we use, okay? Because ideas can change as you're writing them, but you have a path of what you are going to write. Because when you know where you are going when you are writing, it is easier to lead up to that, okay? And as well as that, what you might want to do as well, and this is more optional, is with that piece of that idea, okay, you might want to draw a picture. It might be that you really want to show me something, and if you want to draw a picture, don't just do it for the sake of it. Do it of something that would help me understand the world. So maybe it's a picture of what some of the world looks like. Maybe it's a picture of some of the creatures. Maybe it's a picture of some of the main characters, okay? Those type of things, and I want to get in as many as I can, because what I will do is I'll get all your ideas in, okay, and I'm going to pick the best parts from different ones to put down a sort of synopsis, a blurb for our story, and then we're going to start writing it, okay? So you need to make sure you send them in, because without all the ideas in, I can't pick and put them all together, okay? So that's going to be your task for today, okay? Like I said, nice short lesson today, because obviously as well you're going to see my face twice, so you don't want to be that bored of it. So that's what you got to do this morning. Remember, there is an art lesson as well this afternoon at 2 o'clock. The art one is more of a crafty one, so you need a couple of things like toilet roll tubes and things like that. If you check in the description of the video, or if you check on my Twitter, or my Facebook, or my Instagram, I have put up what you need in those, okay? Because you'll need them for the lesson, or else you'll not be able to do it. If you haven't got those things now, and you haven't saw them before today, if you want to do the lesson afterwards, okay, obviously it's going to stay up, so you can still come along, watch the lesson, see what it is, and think, oh, I want to make that, and get the stuff for it, okay? It's a really cool thing that we're doing, and there's loads of other stuff you can do with it as well. Update, I'm not sure you're dying to know, TikTok dance is still coming. It is really hard, and I'm getting distracted because I'm in the wormhole of TikTok now. And if you do follow me on TikTok, which is the same one, I've put up 3 TikToks now, so I am well and truly addicted. Thanks for that, guys. Okay, but the dance is coming along, not amazingly, but it will be there soon. Okay, so that will be coming up. And remember, comment section if you've got any songs you want for tomorrow for the V Day stay-at-home street party, 3 till 4. So if you're not coming along to the art lesson, hopefully see you between 3 and 4 tomorrow for the V party. I'm going to stay if there's any ideas you want to talk about. If there's any questions you've got about what you are doing, I am going to be here in the chat for the next few minutes. Okay, apart from that, if you're going to have to get on with the work, thanks very much, guys, for coming along. I hope you enjoyed today's lesson. Shorter than normal. Some of you will probably be happy of. And see you hopefully at 2 o'clock art. Right, okay guys, I'm going to leave the lesson there, answer any sort of questions people had and everything about that. Again, thank you for coming down to the lesson. Another one at 2 o'clock. Check the description of the video for what you need for being an art lesson. You do need a few more things than normal. And after that, we've got our VE Day Stay at Home Street Party tomorrow. So if you're not in the art lesson, hopefully see you for that. And thank you for the odd song requests. If you've got any more, I will get them, try and get them sorted today, ready for tomorrow. Well done for the work today. If you do need any help, or obviously to send me the work, Mr. Wiggins123 on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. And on the Padlet that there are links to, you can send us your work through the email address or ask any questions there. Okay, hopefully see you all at 2 o'clock, or those of you who got the stuff that could do the lesson. Thanks very much.